V.O.D got started with Greg. Greg was the only original member. It was probably 85, 86. And I think Neil the Viking, there were two Neils. Neil the Viking was the vocalist for a stretch before Stewart took over, I think. Radley played bass guitar before Diccon took over. And Dion played drums. And when Dion left, Neil Thunder, the other
Neil Thunder.
Neil Thunder played drums. While Greg started V.O.D in 86, Francois, myself and my older brother Henri Jacques, we had a garage band called Moral Decay.
Yeah, that was a good fucking band.
And we heard about...
I need your sex! I need your sex! I need your sex!
I was about 15, 16. We played like cover versions and made up some bullshit punk songs, and everyone kind of heard of this band V.O.D, but you know, it wasn't exactly, there weren't many venues where these bands could play until Archie started. Then it became quite a spot.
I gave you motherfuckers your first break.
I was a matric and you went.
So I started DJing there. I started DJing at the Articella pub in 1988, and it was fucking really great. We charged $2 at the door.
$4 rand.
We went up to $4 rand.
Yeah, we got after my time because about $2 rand.
People dying.
And it was great. And like I remember V.O.D, then Paul joined V.O.D. I don't know how he joined V.O.D. He can tell you more about that. But when Paul joined V.O.D, whatever, and it's like, oh cool, yeah, I was playing and everything.
Dickon you were in Phoenix. What year? When did that start?
That was 88. That's when I left school.
No. I saw Phoenix live in Greenpoint at
the Claridge's Hotel. That was our first gig. Thank to Greg. Let us come up and
we had a song next from head banging.
We fucking head banged.
But that was just when I was about to join V.O.D because Greg and Stuart came to that gig.
I remember seeing
that was a fucking great gig.
And Greg was wearing about 3 sunglasses on his head.
We went fucking Greenpoint.
No, it was for whom the bell tolls.
It was good.
The Rods let him in.
Cliff
was on vocals.
And then at that same time, when Phoenix was going, Cliff, who was the vocalist for Phoenix, started Metamorphosis with Francois, myself, and Jenny, and Dick had played a few songs. They sort of swapped out. It was 88, 89, eh?
Yeah.
Played like Black
We
Sabbath.
all played Ozzy's and then just...
original songs.
I got a call from a friend at school who thought my brother was a bass player and said that the punk band was looking for a bass player, but it was actually me. And then Greg and Stuart came around, and then I joined for the Joburg tour in 1989, which was my first gig at the Thunderdome. I've still got a video of it. This was when I was 17 years old, and my parents let me go with these strange people.
Blue balls.
Yep.
In the white combi.
2 days to drive to Joburg in the V.O.D mobile in Greg's cream combi.
The
first gig was at the Thunderdome, and the second gig was at Club Double Image.
And then I joined V.O.D. We were sitting at Stag's Head, and Dickon and Cliff, they were starting Ravenwolf, and they were looking for a drummer. So we're sitting at the Stag's Head, and so I was like, ooh, I have this choice. Should I play for Ravenwolf or should I play for V.O.D? Because Metamorphosis kind of...
Unfortunately,
to this day.
Unfortunately, chose V.O.D.
But then my basic choice was V.O.D was more kind of thrash, speed metal, and Ravenwolf was more kind of Iron Maiden-y kind of melodic.
No, there's more crap.
I prefer the hardcore stuff, so that's when I thought, okay, cool, I'll join V.O.D. And we practiced at Roxon Studios in Pepper Street.
Roxon, Brian Walsh. He did our demo, recorded a horrendous demo on the first four track band.
Everybody's a sound engineer.
Yeah. And the first, actually, V.O.D recorded the What demo before the Roxon recording.
Awful.
That's what I had to practice to when I first joined the band.
So then, in the late 80s, 1990, right about there, Stuart had a thing for my girlfriend at the time, and I didn't really like Stuart's vocals.
He had a thing for a girlfriend.
He had a thing for a girlfriend. And I didn't like Stuart's vocals. It was punk, and the music was becoming more and more metal because Dickon and I were, that's what we liked.
Through through the grapevine I heard that Stuart had left the band or had been fired or whatever. To this day I still don't know whether it's
Stuart started showing up late to gigs and sort of having like a casual attitude towards it. But I don't know if he wanted to go or something's going on with him and Greg, but it just kind of, it was, I don't think he was ever told to go or whatever, it just became like a thing, like an understood thing. He just never showed up to practices after a while. But I don't know what went on to this day.
No.
But one day he was in the band and a week later then he wasn't.
It's an enigma.
Fascinating.
So, and when I was gone, I think Robin Stellig played. Was it
right.
Stuart cocked off with his girlfriend, Paul left, and then Robin Stellig joined for a couple of years.
In the beginning part, yeah, but I auditioned, it was with Robin. No.
Was it with Robin?
Yes. And I heard that V.O.D didn't have vocalists, so I said, I should be the vocalist of V.O.D. I should be the vocalist.
In fact, you said that even earlier while Stuart was singing.
Yes, I should be the vocalist of this band. And so, but you were in the band, and then I said, but I still said to you, I should be the vocalist of the band, and you organised for me to get the audition, to do the audition. Yes, you did.
I just heard about it.
Well, there you go, you see.
That's how the facts get read.
Nobody remembers this. Okay, anyway, so and then I went to audition for it and I sang The Path, and I think
that was a
March of the March or something. Yeah. And then Greg I can mind, cool, I'm in the band. Yeah. And then we had the band, and then the first lyrics I wrote for V.O.D was Blunt Instrument.
When and why did Robin leave?
He went to the Navy.
And then I got a call, I don't know if Greg, but you called, but told me, you sing in the band now and Robin's going, you want to play drums again?
Yeah, do you want to come back?
But it was like,
you want to come back with your tail between your legs?
No, I was asked to come back with tails between their legs.
Because he's the only guy who had his own drum kit. That's the only reason.
The only guy in town with a drum kit. And
fucking way.
So then, and then I came back, and then that's when things kind of started getting more direction, because it actually sounded, the music started sounding cool, as opposed to all over.
And then very shortly after that, we released the 7th demo, basically. And all the Trojan Horse stuff was the whole idea of releasing the Trojan Horse album. The whole Trojan Horse album was all thing. Everybody was into it, and the fans were into it. Yes, the Trojan Horse album is coming out.
Yeah, for like 2 years.
But it never happened, so we ended up
with
the Trojan Horse demo. I was all pissed off and going to leave the band, so when it came out, Greg put this big photograph of me.
Yes, big! Please, you don't need big photograph.
No, big photograph. I'm alright, I'll stay in the band. This big photograph of me.
Greg's bribe tactics.
Ooh, he's going to fall for it.
Yeah, so then, that's when the whole in-house thing also came in. Met this guy, Greg Langness, we played at the Torture Chamber. That was actually still when Stuart was doing vocals.
We drove up with
Doc John and Gavin Rabinowitz came along.
Yeah, that was long before Francois.
That was like a whole fucking
Doc John was about.
Greg Langness knew, he moved down to Cape Town, and he said he knows this guy, In-House Records. We sent the 7th demo to In-House Records, and at the time In-House Records, like metal, death metal and that kind of music, it was really taking off all over the show. And then In-House Records was interested in us, and they also had Debauchery, Urban Assault, Abhorrence,
Axe. I found my Axe t-shirt.
Retribution Denied.
I still got my Axe t-shirt.
I thought,
saved from being used as a duster.
I still got them all nicely packed away. Yeah, it was like a whole big fucking thing. And when you went up to Johannesburg and you played a show, it was fucking packed. Never saw a penny of anything, never saw a penny of all the recordings we did for In-House Records, but we'll leave that for the in-depth story. The Death of Africa was like the first metal CD to be released in South Africa with V.O.D, Debauchery, Retribution Denied, and Abhorrence.
With a fucking awful cover. And just a terrible fucking marketing campaign. It was fucking terrible.
But then we used that to contact Morbid Records, and they liked our stuff, and then they wanted us to... Did we decide we wanted to go record it because it just never worked out?
No,
the recordings just never worked out the way we wanted it, yeah?
They offered us a deal. They heard the Black Cathedral thing, and we were the band who got contacted of other full other bands. So they wanted us to to sign to their label.
But then from there, we
Alright.
looked across the ocean. And so then we decided, so what are we going to do? We're going to go up there, record it here, and obvious choice was, hey, we have to go try something over there, because it's not like we were these superstars here in South Africa, but it was kind of, it wouldn't have gone beyond that.
Yeah, it's mad.
And it never did anyway.
It was metal, and metal was always metal. So we fucking saved up for our tickets, and we all flew over, when like drips and drabs, first Greg and then you,
yeah.
and then Francois and I went across, and lived in a few South African squats for the first month or two. Had to try and practice and keep tight because we recorded in Academy Studios in Yorkshire. So we travelled up there to record, and it actually came out pretty cool. But before that, before we went up to Europe, we sent Morbid Records the V.O.D Soul, the epic V.O.D song, which two, 3 parts, on the mini disc with Needle Dive, You Master Puss, V.O.D Soul. So yeah, we recorded Needle Dive and You Master Puss. We recorded at London Connection, Whale Street.
And the Biscope.
Yes.
And that Your Master Puss on there is the one that's on the Corpsewood compilation CD now. And it still sounds fucking cool. You play that next to the other songs, man.
The demo on the Bloedrivier release is still the best Your Master Puss of all time.
It's fast, man. I was young and virile.
The extra the demo you get with the MP3 with the Bloedrivier, that is the best.
Yeah, it's quite speedy. Then we had to tour with the album, so we did the European tour with Catatonia and
Autumn Wilderness Tour. Was that 96?
This was, we went up to Europe 95.
96,
95, 96, 96, the end of 96 we did the tour. So you guys can talk about that.
Nothing to say about that. I was always fucking hungry. I just got bad memories of it. I don't got nothing to say about that shit.
Is it? Okay. Our base camp in Europe was in East Ham. We rented a house there.
Just down the road from the Ruskin Arms.
Yeah. We
I
played the Ruskin Arms as
yeah.
well. We played the Swan in somewhere in London. We played freaking
The White Swan in Greenwich.
We played the London Astoria. We played Bradford Rio in Yorkshire. Borderline.
East Ham?
Water Rats. East Ham. Ruskin Arms.
Ruskin Arms.
The old Iron Maiden bar where they started. And this was all like 95, 96. And then we did the tour with Catatonia in the Woods.
The European tour is fucking amazing. It's every band's dream to go over.
Live on a bus.
European tour. Live on a tour bus.
For a month.
Bands do European tour.
You get fed.
Fucking fantastic.
You play like every day.
So the last minute, I thought we'd be going out as a 4-piece in the last minute. Go to a practice.
So yeah,
there's an extra guitar player in there.
So Greg wanted a backup guitarist, so he got.
He wanted that for the reunion as well.
But Diccon, we all know Diccon didn't like second guitar. He loved Johan, but he didn't like 2 guitars. I thought it was fine. It didn't bug me in the least.
Yeah.
And
but there are other factors that kind of made it a bit of a miserable tour.
But all the fuck that. No, but the other band members was cool. The bus driver was cool. It was really cool experience. Well, you tell us,
Come on, it was fucking fantastic.
The best groupies were in Ireland.
Say louder so the mic can hear it.
The best groupies were in Ireland.
Yeah, but.
And then Greg decided to go live on the Isle of Man and everything fucker. In fact, after the tour, the only person who was into it was me.
I went back to South Africa.
Paul just fucked off back to South Africa.
I was sick of London.
Bastard.
I was sick of London. It was just too grey and.
So you can basically
having to work
blame it on Paul.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't play the band and
but it's
Dickens.
It's Dickens' hometown country. So I mean, it was easy for Dickon to stay behind.
Yeah, because he had the accent.
Yes.
No, he didn't actually. Everyone thought I was Australian.
Really?
Yeah.
Halfies.
Now I just think I'm an idiot.
And then when Greg decided to go to the Isle of Man, I just thought, okay, well, fuck this now. I'm not going to stir it.
But it kind of fell apart before that. It was all the writing was on the wall.
The thing is with a band. I mean, it's like anything. It's fine if everyone meet once or twice a week, practice play, but when you lump everyone together, all the little stupid little things start coming out. And people start rubbing each other up the wrong way for no reason.
We were
You get sick of
good laugh.
Oh,
We had a
yes.
really good time there.
That's what, sure. Yeah, fuck the lekker.
The band got on fine. It
I
was
think
other people
for what?
that kind of got annoying.
We were back in South Africa. Francois also back in South Africa. Greg was in Isle of Man, I think. Diccon was in London. Then Oppikopi wanted us to play there, which is like the biggest South African rock festival. I thought, fuck, okay.
Also the Turkish.
This was 1998, so it was like about a year or two after I was back in South Africa just doing my own thing. Did like a solo thing called Fate. I was fucking about on a bass guitar, which I
Yes,
bought.
I did vocals for that for one show.
We did one show as well. It was actually before the Oppikopi Battle of the Bands.
Yes, my future wife loved it. I wanted this.
But then we decided, cool, let's put something together. And then Johan said he'll fly down from Namibia to play guitar. And he's got a buddy there called Tom. He'll play bass for us. He's actually a guitarist, but he'll play bass guitar. Tom Summers, an American guy. So Tom came down, but then we actually ended up using Adam, who was a guitarist for Pothole at the time, to play bass for us. But then Tom just came along anyway.
Adam van der Riet.
It was very cool. Adam van der Riet, yeah.
Oh.
And David did our sound for us in the UK, and he was also back in South Africa. So we told Carl that, you know, one show is not enough, we want 2 shows because we want more bucks and we can cover all our costs. So then we played the Black Label stage, which was total chaos, and the main stage the night after. So we played 2 nights in a row. It was...
I got it for those people and I got but your ass and put it, I was loud because I was
And then a year after Oppikopi, then Greg was back. Then we played the Woodstock
We
Festival. We played the first Woodstock Festival, and then Tom played bass guitar for that.
And Tom's makeup was just like blackface.
Yeah, he backed up.
No way!
Like a V.O.D. across on my chest.
And he had short ears, like a shorty guy. He's like a new metal.
Like a skater.
Like Pantera fucking.
Yeah.
The Pantera jersey.
That was a psychotic show as well. It was the last band of the festival.
The Christians were fucking hunting us
And,
down.
and I think that the Christian bikers then, as the last song finished, they cut the power to the entire camp. It was like a big holiday camp with
And it like exploded like.
That was classic.
That was beautiful.
And then that was pretty much the last V.O.D. show, huh?
That was the last
For the end of the 90s. And then
That was the last V.O.D. show.
So that was pretty much the last V.O.D. show, and then Greg was going to come through and we were going to do practices, and then it was just one time again where we sat waiting for practice and Greg didn't arrive, and that was like the last of that.
I don't even remember.
And then the early 2000s, we all did our own stuff.
Yeah, but then soon after that I started my award-winning pop group.
Francois you did the Christ before Quibber stuff.
Yes.
I did
I
face
stopped
stuff.
playing for 10 years. I didn't play for about 8 years.
You started, didn't you?
I didn't play for about 5 or 6 years, I think. I just gave it up.
And then you
I
started
played
playing
in for Demoniac. My first gig with Demoniac was Demoniac's last gig. It was a fucking it was a fucking shambles, and I'd spent fucking.
Is there no other Asian guys in it?
Yeah, the guys from the band that's really famous now. That was their
Band
first
is really famous.
incarnation.
But then you played for Dragon Force as well.
And they were all really fucking drunk, and I didn't know what was going on. It was a fucking shambolic after putting so much fucking work into working on bass line. And so then I gave that up for about another 2 years or something, and then I got a call from what's his name. He said, "Come join this band."
What's his name? Play this band.
On the Dragon Force, I played in the
Okay,
first
you got a call from what's his name? You played this band.
Trying to be diplomatic.
Let's just say the names in the band. It's fine.
Yeah. Now I got a call from him to play in Dragon Force, and so I did about three or four gigs with them. They were called Dragon Heart at the time.
Oh yeah.
And
they're quite popular, huh?
they got quite popular now, but then I left them just before they recorded the first album. So
And
then
then
I
they
went back
said-
and
they
they
never
never
said
said
again.
me to
And then they went back, then it was
I
just
played
back
on
to
them.
Dragon Breath again.
Dragon Force, which is not really good.
And when did you start Quibus? In 2000?
Yes.
2000 up until...
That was like a year after we did the last V.O.D. gig, started Chorus. Because then I was just fucking fed up with the whole fucking metal thing as well. You know, I still enjoyed it, I still listened to metal at home and stuff like that, but I was just fed up with the whole fucking scene. It was like, nobody gives a fuck all of the cunts.
And then in 2002, as we all went our own direction and stuff, I started Terminatrix. And Diccon is now in Pagan Altar.
David Alter.
How long
Yeah, the fucking main, but the main vocalist, fuck it, it's awesome.
When did you join them?
In 2007, I think. It's about 2 years ago.
In 2006, we re-released the Bluetooth album, like a 10th anniversary special release, because it was never released in South Africa. It was only available on import. So we put that together with a bunch of demo MP3s and some music videos and a slightly rearranged track order. Eh?
Yes, the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
With funeral at the end.
And new
Thank
artwork and stuff. So, and then pretty much, I'm sure if we didn't do that, the reunion probably wouldn't have happened, eh? Or would it still have? And then
I
we
think
would
it
have
would
done.
have-
And then we would have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also that.
Maybe not such a grand scale, but it would always have happened.
No.
I have no doubt.
Anything you guys think we need to mention that's important?
Yes,
I really hope we're not going to be crap.
No, we won't.
we won't be crap.
It's impossible.
We'll be fat.
It's not possible for you to be
It's
crap.
impossible.
God.
We were, and we always will be.
Yes.
God.
Well,
In a year or two, V.O.D. was formed about a quarter of a century ago.
yes, it's far.
That's
23,
way
it's
far.
23 years ago this year. So we're doing
So
this
next year it's
tour,
almost a quarter
the
century.
23rd year. Yeah, but look at all our other achievements around it.
Yes.
V.O.D. is the nucleus, the glue that keeps our asses sticking together.
Yes.
Possibly.
No.
That doesn't sound good. The ass is sticking together.
I meant it to sound like
We know what you mean.
I meant it to sound like
Don't
that.
say anymore.
I meant it to sound disgusting. Now I have to go because I am actually 42 years old and I have a child and a wife, so I have to go. I'm not supposing you. That's it.